Hello and welcome. I'm Carol DeChaine, and you've joined me at a great time because this is the month all about starting over. How do you start fresh? I'm talking about this because Connect to Joy is my business name, and that is what I want you to be able to do. And if you feel like you're stuck in a rut where you don't know what to do with your life and you need something better, it might be the month for starting over. And if it's not this month, when do you decide it is time? And that's what today is all about, deciding when it's time. And then we're going to talk about over the month, making your move, getting over the fear, and putting together the plan. So, the month for starting over. Is it time to start and be fresh? I don't know. Is it time for you? How do you decide? So many things get in our way. Sometimes we have priorities. Well, we always have priorities, but what's your priority? Your kids may be your priority, the job. When this happens, then I'll do that. I need a new job because it's pulling me down, but I need the money right now. And well, at the moment, it's still the pandemic after a year. So what do? Well, you can't let go because maybe there's nothing new out there. Maybe it's almost time for your retirement and you're going, oh, I got to hang in there another couple of years. I can't afford to do it yet. When is it time? When do you decide? Now? Do it now. If you never have a now, it's going to be never. So look at your life. Decide, first of all, if you want to make changes, and then make those decisions what type of changes you want to make. Do you need to adjust where you're working? Maybe throw it out and find a brand new type of career or job. Maybe it's the same business. Maybe you're in the restaurant business and you want to stay in the restaurant business when everything opens back up, but you're not sure exactly what to do. So decide now what area of your life you want to make changes in. That you can do, right? Maybe it's not time to step into it yet and make that move, but at least decide what you want to do. Now, that's not the title of this one. This is about when is it time. But first, decide what you want to do. Because if you can decide what's off, what you want to change, even if it's your marriage, it's harder when it's your children, but maybe there are ways you can interact with them differently, make different decisions about them. Just decide what area of your life you want to shift. What is it? Maybe you're the go-to mom, the go-to dad. You're the one that everybody always asks to do everything with the kids. And so it's always your house. It's too stressful. You don't want to do that. So maybe you decide that's an area of your life you want to adjust. You may not know how you want to do it yet, but you know at this point at least you can make those decisions. Just making those decisions of what you want to change, even if you don't take that move and do it yet, will help you decide when it will be time. But let me just tell you this. If you always put other people first, which is what people say is the nice thing to do. It's this self, it's too selfish to put yourself first. It's selfless to let go. It's more spiritual to let the other person be first. I'm sorry, that's a couple of words. That's ridiculous. Because if you are not in a good place, you're not grounded in being your best self, your joy filled person. Sometimes people need to feel connected to source to feel that way. And for me, I do. But everyone has different ways of feeling their joy. If you're not in that space, nobody's going to be happy around you. You will be unkind. You'll be maybe mean. Maybe you'll be tense all the time. And you can listen to last month when I talked about letting go of stress and finding peace if you need that. So realize that you deserve this. I'm going to be talking about this when I talk about letting go of fear. So realize that deciding when it's time has to do with realizing you deserve this. What do you want to make the changes on? And then deciding, yes, I deserve to have a happy life. I deserve to have a life full of joy. And then see what it is that you want to do. Maybe you're thinking, I need a divorce. I want to divorce the kids. I want to divorce the spouse. I can't deal with this anymore. Maybe it's not time to move on that yet, because maybe there are other choices you can make rather than just a divorce. But if you know you want to do something to shift the dynamics in the relationship, that's a good start. That is going to be easier to make a move if you can decide how you want to shift your dynamics. Maybe you start acting nicer. Maybe you've been all tense. Maybe just being nicer is good. Or maybe you try and be nice all the time and it's time to set a boundary and see what happens. But all those things can be decided on when you're in this preparation thing. What do I want to do? Because if you need to talk to someone, to a therapist, to a life coach, to make a plan, to decide, well, maybe I don't need a divorce. Maybe I can actually shift and adjust things. Maybe I can already do this if I make smaller changes instead of a big jumping off thing. Or maybe it's time for the jumping off thing at some point and you want to shift big. And that can be not just a divorce, but it can be changing jobs, changing careers, even buying a new car can feel that way, or making a big move. What do you want to do? Look at it closely. Decide at least the areas, like I've said. Decide what's in your way for moving forward. What are the priorities that are getting in the way of making this big change and starting fresh in some area of your life, or maybe your entire life? I know someone who dropped everything. She moved across country. She had all sorts of issues. Her car got left somewhere in the middle. She got frostbite. All this stuff happened. But she was thrilled because she decided after years of not moving and having absolutely horrible neighbors who yelled and screamed all the time that she finally could do it. And in the middle of a pandemic. She moved from one place to another. She made some friends along the way before she moved even. And finally she said, I'm going to do it. Deciding when it's time has to do with what's in your way. Why aren't you acting on those things that you think you want to do right now? So look at those things and see if you are more important than those things, or if the things, the people, the job, money, whatever it may be that you think, just one more month, just one more year before I do this, 2 more years before I retire, 5 more years before I make a move that I've been wanting to do. Sometimes, tomorrow, next week, next month, 5 years from now, it never happens. A lot of times, it never happens. How will you be in your life if making this move never happens? If you can't start fresh, is your life worth living? Are you just getting by? You want to be able to find that joy. And if you have never felt true joy, give yourself that blessing, because when you feel it deep inside, it's not a happiness that outside creates for you. We've all had those transitory feelings, and they're lovely. I'm not putting them down, but they don't stay. They're dependent on what other people do and say and act. Joy is what you create. That's why so many people find it more when they're connected to their spirit, to their highest self, to whatever you want to call it. Because then they feel lifted up, and that brings them joy. And that stress and that heavier stuff falls away. So look at yourself. Decide what you want. Maybe just in the areas you want it in case it's a big move. It's a big shift. Get some help to decide how you want to shift your life. Because maybe you don't need to make those big things. Or maybe you do. But you need to decide that and then look at what's standing in your way. It's really only you standing in your way. Because you're thinking that things are more important than this fresh start. And perhaps for the moment, in your reality, that's the case. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying you need to decide for you what's holding you back and why. Because if that fresh start is super important to you, don't let too much time go by before making some sort of a decision on when you're going to do it. When you make that decision, for some reason, the world and the universe just starts falling into place, and all of a sudden, You've made the decision because you know when it's time, because everything shifts. Thank you for joining me here today. Again, my name is Carol DeChaine. I'm a life and business coach. I'm an intuitive, and I'm also a Marconic multidimensional energy practitioner and light worker, as well as a teacher. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell notification so you know the next time that I am posting a video. And you can also listen to my podcast, Living Your Limitless Life, on almost any Stitcher, Apple, iTunes, on almost anything, Pandora, there as well. My whole purpose is to help you find your best life, to enjoy your life, to be the best you that you can be, so you can really have a great time while you're in this particular body. Until next week, remember, life doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be that difficult path unless you decide it has to be. Somewhere in your subconscious mind, you can decide again. Learn and grow every time you have a difficult thing, and you'll become a better you, a more focused you, and a more fun you to be around for yourself as well as everyone else. Give you my love from me to you.